When Leslie Gore first sang "It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want To," I'm not entirely sure this is what she had in mind. In the horror genre, truly no event is sacred, least of all the humble birthday. Birthdays aren't everyone's jam. Some people don't like the pressure and the attention, others don't like the implication that they're speeding headlong into old age and death. Topping all of this, however, are those who have some serious name day related trauma, and after looking at all these unhappy birthdays, I swear I'll never complain about a subpar party again. I'm Amy from What Culture, and here are the 10 worst birthdays in horror movies. 10. Clown, 2014. After a scheduling problem leaves his son's birthday party clownless, Kent McCoy takes it upon himself as Father of the Year to assume the clown's entertainment role. He finds an old clown costume in the basement and dons it, only to find out after the party that he can't get the thing off. The wig, the red nose and all are now stuck to his body, and all attempts to remove them only result in injury. After tracking down the suit's previous owner, it's revealed to him that the suit is made from the skin and hair of the Icelandic demon Cloyne, and that now he's wearing it, he'll be slowly transformed into said demon. With an insatiable hunger and a growing desire to murder and cannibalize children, Kent realizes he needs to put an end to this before his family ends up getting hurt. It's particularly unfortunate because the poor guy was only doing what any good dad would do, and now instead of eating birthday cake with his son, he's forced to fight off urges to chow down on the son himself. 9. Demons 2. An already tense celebration turns deadly after Sally finds herself possessed at her own birthday party. Watching a film on TV whilst her friends prepare her cake, Sally is attacked by a demon who crawls forth from the screen and transforms her into a monster. It's not enough that she's been assimilated by the demon, however, and she goes on to infect her friends and pretty much the rest of the people in her apartment building. Even pets aren't safe, as one dog consumes some of her demon juice and turns into a beastly, vicious killer. What would have just been your run-of-the-mill low-key celebration turns into a full-blown nightmare, with Sally and her demon descendants wreaking havoc on anyone and anything that gets in their path. There's always something deliciously ironic about dying on your birthday, but it has to be said the charm does somewhat get taken away when, prior to your death, you turn everyone within a mile radius into a bloodthirsty monster. I guess Demon Sally probably had a fun birthday, but at what cost? 8. XX. One story in the anthology of XX is simply named The Birthday Party. The story behind it is astoundingly simple and silly, but works nonetheless to deliver a perfect dark comedy punch. Mary's getting ready to throw a birthday party for her daughter Lucy. The house is decorated, the table is set for birthday lunch, but the one problem is that Lucy's father is lying dead in his home office. Yeah, that's gonna throw a spanner in the works. Mary doesn't want to ruin her daughter's special day, so instead of calling the police or an ambulance, she tries to hide his body and continue with the party, eventually stuffing it inside a giant panda suit she buys from a party performer. All is well, and Mary seems to have gotten away with it, with the giant panda sat upright at the head of the table as the cake is laid out in front of him. That is until it topples and the head of the suit is accidentally removed, and little Lucy finds out that her dead father has been sat in a plush suit all day at her birthday party. The end of the story reveals the full title of the segment: The Birthday Party, or The Memory Lucy Suppressed from Her 7th Birthday That Wasn't Really Her Mum's Fault, even though her therapist says it's probably why she fears intimacy. 7. Happy Death Day. You didn't really think we could get through this list without mentioning modern horror hit Happy Death Day, did you? First hitting screens in 2017, Happy Death Day tells the story of college student Teresa Gelbman, otherwise known as Tree. She wakes up on her birthday, goes about her day as usual, and then meets her terrible end in the evening, only to then wake up again at the start of the day she's just lived. Not only has she seemingly survived death, but she appears to be stuck in a time loop on that fateful day. Trying to avoid death each day, the loop continues. Tree has to find out who her masked killer is and save herself and the life she knows in the process. It's a pretty sweet deal, getting to live your birthday over and over again and be immortal at the same time. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure being murdered isn't fun, but at least every day can be a party. It has all the fun of the black comedy slasher, but also the intrigue of the whodunit. The time loop is something that really has been done to death, but luckily this film tackles it in such a way as to revive it with each waking morning. 6. Happy Birthday to Me, 1981. Virginia, otherwise known as Ginny, is a member of an elite friend group at the local high school, known as the Top 10. Each of the members are the most privileged, stereotypically popular kids at the school, but this can't protect them from being picked off one by a murderer. The thing is that the murderer appears to be Ginny, but she doesn't remember committing any of the crimes. The whole thing culminates with a birthday dinner that is the stuff of nightmares. Ginny's father returns home from a business trip to find each of his daughter's top 10 friends and his wife all dead and propped up around the table. After walking into the room singing happy birthday to herself, his daughter proceeds to slash his throat, before revealing herself to not be Ginny at all, whilst Ginny herself sits at the table in horror. It turns out that a jealous friend, Anne, who blames Ginny and her family for the social demise of her own relatives, has taken revenge by disguising herself as Ginny and committing a string of murders. Even after the real Ginny overpowers and defeats Anne, the damage is already done, as the police enter to see Ginny surrounded by the corpses of all of her friends and family with a knife in hand. How do you even start to talk your way out of that one? Being framed for murder is bad, but being framed for murder at your own birthday party really just takes the cake. 5. Stitches, 2012. We're taking another trip to Clown Town now, as another birthday party performance gone wrong results not just in a lifetime of trauma for protagonist Tommy, but also a murderous stalker. Happy birthday, I guess. After an accident at a childhood birthday party results in the clown Stitches dying right in front of Tommy, he's warned by a group of seemingly satanic fellow clowns that Stitches will not be able to rest as he died before the party was complete. Stitches will return. Years and years later, on his 16th birthday, Tommy throws a party with several of his childhood friends in attendance. Unluckily for them, they're all perfectly grouped together for Stitches to enact his wrath as he rises from the grave to hunt them. Each of Tommy's friends are killed in increasingly disgusting, comic ways. For example, one person has their intestines pulled out and made into little balloons right in front of their eyes. As Tommy and his remaining friends rush to find a way to kill Stitches once and for all, I wouldn't blame the guy for swearing never to celebrate another birthday ever again. 4. Child's Play, 1988. The very worst things that happen to Andy don't necessarily happen on his birthday, but it is the day that Chucky's brought into his life and it's all just downhill from there. First of all, what was his mother thinking when she got her beloved son a gift from a random man on the street? At that point, you have to expect something's going to be wrong with it. But in fairness, you're probably more likely to think it'll be broken than it'll be possessed by the spirit of a fugitive serial killer. When Andy receives the good guy doll, it's the first moment in a string of unfortunate events, which eventually see him confined in a psychiatric ward. Not only was the kid probably rightfully a bit terrified when his birthday present confessed to murder, but he's forced to go along with it all and know for the rest of his life that he was complicit in some horrible deaths. For all his trauma, he doesn't even get the full satisfaction of being rid of Chucky at the end. There's still several more films full of chaos for old Chucky to cause, and it's all because of that fateful birthday when his mum got him the world's worst present. 3. Madhouse, 1981. Who out there can say that they're not a sucker for a bit of evil twin mayhem? Well, apart from the not evil twin. Julia and Mary are twin sisters, the former being a meek school teacher and the other a maniac confined to a hospital. As their joint birthday approaches, Julia finds out that her twin sister has escaped from hospital and that this has coincided awfully conveniently with a rise in local murders. Her friends, neighbours and even students are dying mysteriously, some being mauled to death by a Rottweiler. She begins to worry that Mary is closer than ever, and maybe even hiding and living in her own house. When their birthday finally rolls around, Julia's taken to a surprise party in her basement, only to find that, as with Happy Birthday to Me, there is just a table of corpses greeting her. The dead bodies of her friends and neighbours are all sat around the table as she gets attacked by her sister. Surprise parties are nerve-wracking at the best of times, never mind mind when the surprise has murderous intent and the party cleanup you've got to worry about isn't putting some cans in the recycling, but rather clearing out corpses from your basement. 2. The Sentinel, 1977. Have you had enough of human birthday parties yet? How about a cat's birthday party? That's more like it. Alison Parker has recently moved into an apartment building when she's invited to an eccentric neighbour's party, which he's throwing to celebrate his cat Jezebel's birthday. Despite being literally the cutest thing in the world, this party is no good omen, and actually marks the start of a steep downward spiral for Alison. She later finds out that she is one of only 2 occupants in the entire apartment block, and that all the other attendees of the party were dead murderers. Not sure about Jezebel though. The man who invited her to the party turns out to be a grotesque demon, a leader of sorts amongst the other hell spirits haunting the apartments. It really could have been a delightful party. A little cat wearing a party hat, everyone enjoying some cake and a few drinks, but no, we just can't have nice things. It proves that in horror, something as innocent as a cat's birthday celebration can be turned upside down and used for demonic means. 1. Frogs. Sadly, this time we're not talking about a frog's birthday party, but we're finishing our list back in the human realm with this early 70s nature fights back horror. Grumpy old man and established nature hater Jason is anticipating his upcoming birthday party. He sends out a man to put pesticide all around his large estate, wanting to kill off all living organisms that might be lurking and hopping around in the undergrowth. This, it turns out, was a bad idea. As his family arrive and begin the celebrations, one by one they're attacked and killed off by various creatures, from geckos creating a noxious gas through to the classic swarm of tarantulas chowing down on a guy's body. Nature is fighting back against Jason and his vendetta against all things great and small, and even as he insists nothing can interrupt or spoil his birthday party, you do have to acknowledge at one point that multiple deaths of loved ones will dampen the atmosphere a bit. He does nothing to encourage pity or sympathy from the audience, so by the time Jason's birthdays come to an end and he sits alone in his house, we can't help but smile when hundreds of frogs descend onto his grounds and eat him alive. As entertaining as it is for us, as far as birthdays go, suffering from death by frogs has got to rank pretty low on the enjoyment scale. And that brings us to the end of this list of the 10 worst birthdays in horror movies. What are some more unhappy birthdays you can think of? Let us know in the comments down below. And remember to check out whatculture.com for more lists and articles like this every single day. I've been Amy from What Culture, and I'll catch you next time.